Daredevil falls, blacking out. He finally comes to, strapped to a gurney. "Congrats, you'll live," a familiar voice tells him. "But even better than that, you've seen the light. You've seen it my way," Frank Castle, the Punisher, says as he steps forward. Matt was coming out of it again. You could hear that familiar heartbeat, steady, unflinching. The heart of a psychopath. There was another one. Scared. Different. Matt finally opened up his eyes and his senses told him that Frank was nearby. Well, welcome back, pal," Frank says, smiling down at Daredevil. "Gotta admit, been feeling like a bit of a stalker lately. Been following you, Red. Like what I've been noticing. The freak with the code finally seeing the light," he says as he reaches down, tightening the straps on Daredevil's gurney. "Doing what needs to be done. You take a swing at the devil, you don't get back up. Though, killing a liquor store robber is a little much, even for me." But Daredevil is shaking his head. "Frank, you psycho, I didn't." He struggles to argue, but Frank is across the room looking at the thug that he has tied up to a chair. "Sure you did. Give me a sec, pal, gotta tend to something." He asks the goon where the Owl's drug operation is based out of, hitting him hard across the face, not believing his answer. But Matt can sense the man is telling the truth. "The two things I hate in my home are liars and phonies," Frank says, turning back to Matt. He looks at the devil, pointing out that he's been a phony ever since the day that they met, pretending that he cares about the victims, but just letting the scum live long enough to make more victims. Daredevil's listening, but he continues to struggle at his restraints. "So am I right, Red? Are you done being a phony?" "You're a psychopath, Frank," Matt says, trying to keep Frank talking as he continues to attempt to free himself. "Justifying murder? It's all you've ever done. A man who thinks he's above the law," Daredevil tells him, but Frank shakes his head, pulling out a pistol, pointing it at Daredevil. He asks Daredevil why doesn't he just put a bullet in this man now, prevent him from going back out there. "You're gonna tell me what, he's the next Tony Stark? He's gonna turn his life around?" Frank asks, turning back to Matt, but Matt shakes his head. He doesn't know the man. He doesn't know what he's been through, but points out that lives are complicated. And Frank scoffs. "Not so complicated that you won't break his nose or bust up some ribs, huh, Red? If I let this guy go, he's gonna kill someone." He pushes the gun against the man's head. "So are you ready to stop it? Do I let him go? Do I let him kill again and again, Daredevil? Or do I end this now?" Daredevil pauses. "Frank, he has people who love him. Everyone does. Let him go." "Fine," Frank says, cutting the man free and turning away. Not sure where he's going to go in these tunnels, but the thug stops, seeing a rifle that Frank has left by, and he goes for it. He raises the weapon, preparing to fire, but a pistol shot echoes in the room, and Frank's round has entered the man's skull. "No!" Daredevil screams. "That's better, Red. Find a guy that's gonna put up a fight and kill him in self-defense, huh?" Daredevil begins to struggle against his bonds, finally ripping them free and charging at Frank. "For the last time, I didn't kill him!" He bellows, whirling around, knocking the pistol out of Frank's hand, but the Punisher kicks him in the stomach, sending him flying through a desk. "I really hoped you changed, Red. I know you're a killer. I see the glee when you fight." And he points out that he's a math guy, because Frank's math says that if he takes out one bad guy, more good guys get to live. Matt reaches for another rifle that has fallen nearby, making sure it's loaded. "I bank on you not stopping me, on you growing up and finally doing what is necessary," Frank shouts, raising his own rifle, taking aim, but Daredevil fires around the corner, the round hitting Frank in his Kevlar. The force knocks him down, sending him into a wall. "Still going for Kevlar shots? I think deep down you want me out there, doing what I do." Daredevil leaps out from behind the desk, firing two pistols as he dives through the air, the rounds ricocheting and knocking Frank's pistols away, stunning him and grazing off his shoulder, leg, and neck. Frank grunts, reaching for the wounds, trying to stop the bleeding as Daredevil steps before him, raising both pistols, aiming it at his head. "Frank, do you have any idea the level of carnage I could unleash with a gun in my hand? It's no contest. You're amateur hour, Punisher." Matt can sense the explosives nearby and he turns to the weapons. "You're a demon, sure, but I'm the devil," he hisses as the guns go off, the explosions ripping through the room, stunning Matt's hearing for a moment. Frank tries to move to fight back, but Daredevil hits him hard, chopping his throat, throwing him into a wall. "I'm not a murderer, because if I was, you'd be dead," he says as he stands over Frank. Frank's smiling. "It'd be worth it, knowing you became better than me." Frank hits him one last time, knocking him out, and then he picks him up, dragging him out of the lair, away from the fires. He will never become Frank Castle, It's his biggest fear. So much so that he knows that he's been denying the facts. He dumps Frank on the ground and falls to his knees. I killed a man. He finally admits to himself, pulling off his mask, staring into the void. He has to be better. He has to prove himself.